Guys, if you guys don't mind, I have a bunch of people that said they were going to trickle through. But yeah, please share out the space. Can't wait to dive into this. Um, yeah, and get back to it. Community was one of those buzzwords I was throwing around all for all projects. 2021, we saw it all over the roadmap. 2022, through the Bulls and the Bears, and we're here at the turn of a new calendar year, and people are kind of realigning, looking at their plans, and again, here we are talking about community. So I wanted to dive into a conversation about how brands should be thinking about that. We've been in this space for long enough now to realize that there have been mistakes made. People have done it right, people have done it wrong, and we're always learning. But how do we kind of navigate the waters? And for companies like Gauss or whoever is interacting with brands, how do we best lead them, and the best practices and all that good stuff? So, Punta, I'll just for some context for those listening, um, you know, give us a quick little background, a refresher on your entrance into the space.
Yeah, sure. You know, if we're talking NFTs and Web3, I always consider NFTs to be like a crypto derivative. That's a term I throw around quite a bit just to try to explain like what NFTs actually are and where a lot of the ecosystem comes from in terms of the people that are in here dabbling and working on a daily basis. So, to that extent, I was like a former Bitcoin maximalist. I sort of started with crypto in 2017 timeframe. And through my voyage and my journey that we all have, and everybody has their path. But I would say 2021, I started to, right around the time of the big Beeple sale, I started to really question, my Bitcoin maximalism and try to understand like how digital collectibles and how art and how the internet of value was going to begin to be exemplified or brought to the fore. And the more I sort of delved into it, I started to look deeper into PFP projects and NFTs, and it's been a heck of a ride since then. The last, I would say, year 8 to 18 months. I've helped NFT projects build. I've tried to become more of an active sort of voice in the space, and now I'm just looking forward to bigger brands like the purpose of this space here tonight. Like, how can we onboard larger brands into the Web3 space safely and in a way where they can utilize the blockchain and see the full value and potential of what there is to offer. I'm very close with the guys that over at Form 3 who are helping Starbucks launch Odyssey. I don't have anything to do with that. I just happen to know them. But to me, that's a good blueprint for what we can potentially do with tons of other Fortune 500 or mid-tier brands, mid-size, mid-cap brands that, may want to bring their, rewards programs or loyalty programs into the Web3 space. So, there's tons there and a lot to unpack, but that'll give you a basic idea of why I'm here tonight and what I want to probably do with 2023 and moving forward.
Amazing. And Starbucks, I know, as many, I'm definitely watching closely to see how they navigate this. Super interested in that execution, and I know. I mean, there's only a handful of brands that are as big as them right now. So awesome. So if you don't mind, like just me going under the hood for a sec. So when you're dealing with brands, are they kind of approaching you with some Web3 knowledge? Are you kind of going to them? How does that work? And the part B to that question, is convincing any part of your job, or are these people ready and willing to market in this sector?
Yeah, no, so great question. And actually, this is the challenge for me into 2023 is I'm very linked into the no pun intended. I'm very linked, and this is actually a question I would love to bring to the panel and discuss a little bit more. Is how do we use the Web2 sort of channels to get hot leads, to find the right people inside of these existing large corporations that are going to be an open ear to this conversation. This is what I'm going through right now, to be honest with you, is because I feel like we're all in spaces all day long, like hooking up a project or figuring out which project might be right for, let's say, if they wanted to invest in a PFP project. That's one example. Because there's a million ways that a company just dabbling in Web3 could go about entering the space, right?
Of course.
They could do a Starbucks Odyssey and launch their own thing from the ground up. They could develop their own PFP project. They could do what Nike did, and basically, acquire a project. So there's a million different ways, but my task in 2023 is really going to be diving in, without giving away any secret sauce or whatever, but finding those, not just the companies that may be open to this or really interested, but finding the exact person within the organization that's going to give me that elevator pitch. That's going to let me deliver the elevator pitch.
That makes total sense. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it's not. Let me just tell you, it's not easy. And also, when you have like an SBF or when you have FTX blowing up, I want to let everybody know something that they already know, which is our job just got 10 times harder, to bring people back in. Every time something collapses or we have one of these, major shit shows, it just sort of creates a little bit more friction for us. Not to say it's not overcomable, but it just gets harder and harder because people bury their head back in the sand and say, we're not going to mess with that crypto stuff, right?
Of course, and there's so many headlines that are giving anyone that was against this space, in the first place during the last bull run, so much ammo to use against us. There was a lot of memes around the holidays and Thanksgiving of tweets and memes just about facing the family that you saw last year when you were kind of shoving Bitcoin for $50,000 down their throat, and just kind of funny, self-depreciating stuff like that. But no, you have a really good point, and I think going not to just sit on Starbucks for a while, but it's going to take it lose the jargon, and it's going to take brands a little bit, I think, to thoughtfully just kind of embed these new behaviors into their consumers or their target demographic, whatever we're going to call it, into their kind of Web 2 life. I always get stuck on the term Web 2.5 just because I think that's what it's going to be for a while. I mean, it's not going to be this magical moment where we just kind of cross over into Web 3. We're going to be in both for a while. Sorry, I saw you unmuted there.
No, Rob, I was just going to say, I think I saw that in your bio today, your profile today. I hadn't seen that before, but I actually think that's a great way to think about it. And I think that's also a little bit of hand-holding. Let's not assume that everything we're doing is right. And let's not assume that everybody has the comfort level that we have here, understanding of seed phrases and, wallet security and, underlying crypto. You know what I mean? I think it's time for us all to take a step back. And by putting something like Web 2.5, that just shows that you want to meet people halfway to bring them to the other side. So I think that's a nice, I kind of like that. I might borrow that from you if you don't mind.
Of course. I mean, I definitely didn't coin it. I saw it somewhere and it just makes so much sense. The metaphor of it just speaks to me. And we are as a ecosystem just trying to push the timeline a little too quick. And I don't know if it's that we feel behind all the time because we live in this kind of Twitter Discord world where so much is happening so fast. We feel like we just need to get everyone in here because we don't want to miss the boat or what. But, I was in Miami and this guy who's huge in Web 2 and Web 3, this guy, Ryan Pineda, he's got a big YouTube channel, business guy, has a successful project. And I got to talk to him after his talk. And I was, we got past like a few minutes in where I was kind of feeling comfortable. And I kind of just pitched him a little idea that I've always had with real estate and NFTs. And he listened and he humored me. And he's like, that's great, but you don't need Web3 for that. I don't need to go into the whole idea. But I was like, you know what, you're right. And I just had that epiphany, like, man, we're pushing a lot of this too much when it's not the answer, right? um, so much of business is just finding solutions for problems, and the problems aren't necessarily there yet, when we're trying to offer solutions to them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you're coming back to me with that, I saw so many projects launch last year, and after the bloom was off the rose, so to speak, and we had descended into the bear market. Only then do people ask or take a minute to be like, wait, did we really need to mint an NFT for that? If this company was really just all about raising funds, could they not have just raised funds via more traditional means? Or, you're right. Like, does everything need the blockchain? Certain projects can just be done in a database, right? A standard, Web 2, or Web 1 even, like, sort of framework. So you're right. And I think it's important for us to all be questioning those things now so that we find the right use cases for what we want to do in Web 3.
I love it. So, looking at the title here and seeing your experience, do brands, is this kind of like a culture shift that brands are going to have to go? When we talked about community, like a typical NFT project, typical Web3 project has to have a living, existing community to kind of to live, right? That's kind of the lifeblood of the system there. And brands, usually it's just transactional, it's an audience, it's a customer base. Is To be successful in kind of this space, do you think that they need to kind of look at, okay, like, how do we build this community, like someone that's can actually engage with us? Or do you think the status quo will be sufficient?
No, I mean, I think as we move forward, every brand should be looking at the NFT model and what, say, like a Bored Ape Yacht Club has achieved, and strive to do more. I mean, every successful brand really is a community at its core. They just have never really approached it that way. Potentially, like, they never really wanted to, like, bring us all together. And that's not every brand. I mean, you've seen some do it better than others, right? I mean, I think the sneaker companies do a great job of, creating that kind of community, and Nike and Adidas, and sneakers are traded back and forth on the open market, and stuff like that. But I mean, this is something that could transcend across all brands. Is creating that community, and bringing people together, because you resonate. Like, brands are like lifestyle brands are things that just resonate with people, and it's about how you live your day-to-day life and what you aspire to. So I definitely could see that, and it's why I did a poll a while back, Rob, about if, let's say, a Pepsi, and I know they've done stuff, so let's pick somebody different. Let's just say, like, a spirits company, right? Let's say they wanted to launch an NFT, right? Or a PFP project, let's say. Would they be better off launching that from the ground up? Or, seeing as how we're deep in a bear market, would they be wise to sort of poke around and kick the tires and acquire an existing project? I think I used, like, Deadfellas with, like, a skateboard. Let's say a skateboard company. You had a really successful skateboard company that wanted to dive into NFTs, and create a PFP project. Should they do it from scratch, or would they be wiser to acquire something with existing IP, with an existing community, with that already had a vibe? And anyway, I won't get too long-winded with it, but I think the idea there speaks to what you're getting at, which is there inherent or underlying value to the community? And my argument would be yes.
I'm curious, what were the results of the poll?
Yeah, no, I'll throw it up, and actually, I'll pin it up top into the Nest, or I don't know what you guys call it here. Some people call it the Jumbotron, some people call it the Nest, or
I go with the big screen or jumbotron.
all right, yeah. So I'll throw it up in the Jumbotron. I'll dig it up when I stop rambling. But I actually put yes, no, and that won't work. And I thought a lot of people might put that won't work because, trying to maybe, like, fit a round peg in a square hole. To me, I thought that might be part of the complexity of it. But I think yes, not yes, but acquire existing. I think that won, actually. So people see the merits of not trying to build it from scratch, but finding something that aligns with your brand persona and doing an acquisition, they thought that might have merit in the current market. So let me throw that up there and we can look at it.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm a big buyer of collaborations, and especially in this space. I mean, when it's so easy to do. I just wanted to take the opportunity to really, guys. This is not a a formal one-on-one. This is open space. Feel free to jump in the conversation. Thank you for sharing. If you have any thoughts, questions about anything, let's get up here and jam. But this is awesome. So yeah, definitely would love to look at this.
Yeah, might
We
take me
meant
a minute to dig it up.
no,
So
you're good. You're good. You're good. I'm I'm curious. We talked about the Nikes and the Starbucks while we're talking about big brands of ones that are on the right path and executing correctly. Is there any execution that jumps to the front of your mind that really missed the mark? Whether they were tone deaf or just kind of their execution was just not well done as far as big brands.
yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I really don't think we've seen enough of it. I mean, it was actually probably a little bit before my time, but I've heard some pushback on the Budweiser
I
entrance.
I was going to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was early days, and I think we know so much more now. And Rob, something you said earlier is the space moves so fast, right? Where we were 6 months ago, 4 months ago is vastly different even than where we are today. I think something that also wasn't present back then or wasn't as pervasive back then was this understanding of Polygon and what the microtransactions and the low Gauss, excuse me, the low gas cost, the efficiency of a network like Polygon is going to really change things so dramatically for these corporate behemoths to enter the space. And I just don't know if that understanding, I feel like just people were just throwing stuff out back then that didn't have the utility or didn't have the long lasting underlying mechanics to make them successful.
Yeah, I mean the where things happened on the timeline is a huge variable because for a good minute there, you could, I mean, if you had a website and a Discord and a graphic of a roadmap, you minted out. Like anything was just going. So you just had to appear like you knew what you're doing and throw together some good ideas, and you were off and on your way to making a bag. Definitely not community oriented. Definitely not good for your brand in the long run, as we see, as we it's 2023 and we've seen that play out. But lessons were definitely learned.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Also, Rob, not to step on you, but I did find that. So I threw that up there in the jumbotron. We can delve into that a little bit more later. But also, I just want to throw one thing out there, which is really important to understand. Which, like to me, as we go further, 1 year, 3 year, 5 years out, like there's going to be a Web3 line item in everybody's marketing budget. It's just going to be there, where that might not have existed a year ago. You know, and there's going to be a lot of different ways corporations approach this, whether it's just a loss leader, whether it's just something they're throwing money at, or whether it's actually something that they see as a viable profit center, or something that is earmarked to sort of replace or, as in the case of Starbucks Odyssey, sort of overlap with a current existing rewards program. So, like, as we move forward here, there's going to be dollars budgeted towards our space that were never available before, or they were never supposed to be directed to us before. And to me, that's just going to be a monumental shift that I don't even know if people are prepared for it.
I don't think so. I think the people within the space are, this whole sentiment of being early and grinding and educating yourself and making connections. I think the young hungry hustlers out there are ready. Like take myself, like I knew I wanted to be a part of the space. I just didn't know exactly doing what, and I just kind of injected myself in it. I don't know exactly, what prompted you to push yourself into that extra step. But everyone has their own story. But as far as the Web 2 and the brick and mortars and the small mom and pops, yeah, I don't think they know what's coming. But I know community is going to be a big part of it. I know that collaboration and value propositions and just giving as much as you can to the end consumer in your community is going to separate the winners from the losers. That's kind of my thesis, which is obviously shared by many of the good actors in the space. But I just believe in it so much.
I mean, yeah, a lot of stuff there, and I'm not young. I wish I was, but no, I kid. But um, what drove me sort of into this niche, I would say, because I do feel like what we're talking about here tonight is, for now at least, not many people, to be honest, that want to exist in this particular space, sort of bridging the gap between Web3 and like we could say Fortune. I'll just continue to say like Fortune 500 brands just to keep it easy.
Totally, yeah.
But the thing is, it resonates so far deeper than that. It's ridiculous. It'll be mid cap by the time we're done. It'll be small cap. It'll be mom and pops. It'll be that California wine retailer that's doing $20 million a year in sales or $50 million a year in sales that wouldn't register necessarily in Forbes, but is a really healthy, viable business that needs to connect with their consumers and wants to create a community. I mean, we're talking about all the way through that. So there's so much here. This is a ridiculous amount of business that's going to transact here. And for me, we've all dabbled in PFP projects and we've all bought cryptos and we've all done this and we've all done that. And at the end of the day, Rob, I started to look at it and say, where's the win-win here? In other words, like, where is the space where I don't necessarily have to back a horse? I don't have to be a part of a project that may or may not succeed. Like, where's that like picks and shovels mentality where I can just be here, offer an expertise, help guide people along, help them create a program, and then take my piece and wish them on their merry way and hope for their success. If that's in a consulting role, great. But at the end of the day, I don't have to pick winners and losers. I can help people build along the way something they're going to need.
Oh, you're preaching. I'm with you 110%. Like I love the picks and shovels game. I want the win-win-win consulting totally. I would love to go down to often. I actually saw some tweets about this. What NFT do you want 2024? What would you invest in? All I want to do is right now is go to down the street to my public grocery store and have a meeting and tell them how to create one of these projects so I could buy the golden token and get 2%, 3% back on every transaction because I have the Publix NFT. Like that's what I want to do. And those are I can't wait, talk to your point a few minutes ago, just the long tail of it all. Like I'm excited to get to that moment when we have more, rewards programs, win-win-win opportunities because of what's happening here. Trip, welcome to the stage.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming, man.
Appreciate the invite.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you guys.
We're just talking meta stuff here, man. We're jamming on community, what brands can do, what the winners, not the winners and losers, but the good actors, the bad actors, what we've seen that may play out for the better, what didn't play out, and all of the things, man.
Yeah, I one thing I saw that I really resonated with, two things I saw recently that really resonated with me that I haven't forgotten is, seeing a lot of people, especially large people, say the bear market is one of the best things that has been for this space, right? Because it has really flushed out a lot of the people that are purely here for flipping, right? People that really don't care about the community, they don't care about the brand, they don't care about what really matters. And obviously the space is still so new. I mean, it's such a new space and everybody wants it to explode, but it's got to crawl. I mean, I'm pretty sure I saw CZ, the Binance guy, make a tweet about how, the crypto community as a whole, and of course NFTs and whatnot. I mean, in the sense of building a car, we're still working on the first engine right now. You know what I mean? We've got a little ways to go. You know, there's a lot to be learned. Technology is great, and of course, technology sometimes gets misappropriated. And now the verbiage is now changing. Digital collectibles, right? Digital assets, right? Whatever makes you feel better. But that was something that truly resonated with me. And then I also saw someone straight up. His name is Benjamin. You guys know who he is. I think his Twitter ad is Obi-Wan Benobi, I believe. He's like a 13-year-old kid that started Weird Whales, a project that sold out a while ago. I work with a lot of people that have a close relationship with him, and his project sold out. Instant millionaire, and super super smart kid. And he said two things I've learned is diamond hands don't get you anywhere, and sell into the hype. And I think that just rings very true as this bear market has really flushed out a lot of people, and the real builders are here. The people that are sticking around are the ones that are serious, that believe in longevity, and anything that's good and worth having is going to take a little while to build. And I just think people really need to be patient, because I just feel like everybody wants everything to happen at once, and it's a crawl, walk, run. And 2021 was crazy. 2022 has been crazy, and there's only good things to come. So I mean, it's tech is exciting. It's fast. It changes quick. I mean, what a wonderful place to be.
I love it. I love it. And very wise words from I can't remember if you said 13 or 14-year-old. I think there's a lot of, it's funny because, at Gauss here, the team is kind of a mixture of crypto natives and people that are just brand spanking new. And at the beginning, I was like, all right, let's, the newbies should really catch up and kind of, learn what's happened and everything. But recently, I'm like, I think it's a blessing in disguise, because people that are, went through that bull run and are more likely to want it fast, right? To just kind of chase that moment in time, where I think it goes to say it could be a really positive thing for someone to do some education, really learn about the technology, watch some videos, read a couple decks, and then go to market, and make some plans here. So I think to your point, it is a really great time, for anyone, but especially to get in for the first time, in the picks and shovels game, as when you're talking with punter, or as a creator, or artist, or investor, whatever.
Yeah, and it's really these last 8 months or so have been a very interesting time, right? Because you know um, most people or most projects, um, most of the projects that did sell outright and make a good chunk of money, they're not seeing those kind of sales like they used to, and obviously their floor is a lot less than what it used to be. And it's very interesting to see different brands try to innovate with either a parent company trying to create, doing more business to business transactions, and marketing or operations, or figuring out ways that they can maneuver in this space, because the there was so much more movement, right, in the past, and the floors were so much more high. And of the few projects that have still maintained a community and have somewhat of a floor, they're really trying to be strategic with how they're going to not only keep their community interested and provide value, but generate that same cash flow. Just because projects, especially PFP projects, don't sell like they used to, right? And it's very interesting to see these brands maneuver on the back end, trying to figure out how are they going to generate income. Because during 2022, especially the beginning, everyone was like play to earn, play to earn, play to earn, right? So everybody's trying to create their own little simple P2E game. And obviously a lot of people have come to find out that most of these games are not great. They're not fun. There's not much there, and it's just a way to stake. And I'm very curious to see how these brands generate even 30% of the same cash flow they were, right, during the bull run, even if it's not selling specifically NFTs, but maybe trying something, I don't know, different in the space, or I don't know. That's what I'm looking forward towards, you know.
I think I totally get what you're saying. I think as far with the play to earn, the gaming sector is so huge. I they're gonna get it right. So, going back to the timeline, I think don't quote me on this. It takes a long time to get a game going, and a good game at that. Like I don't think we've seen the Web3 Call of Duty or the Web3 Minecraft. Like I think that's being created like now, and eventually it will roll out in the kind of play to earn thing, and it'll win. I just to your point, yeah, I know I can't think of a play to earn game that's crushed it so far, but for whatever reason, whether it was rushed or just too early or whatever, I just don't think we've seen it yet. But I I know I need to educate myself more on the gaming industry, but I just don't think we've seen the Minecraft or the Call of Duty yet. Jordan G, what's up? I'm just kind of looking in the audience here. Thank you guys so much for coming. Jordan G, representing Film 3. What's up? Um, so inevitably, I know in Gauss land here, we're going to have conversations, Punter, Trip. We're going to have conversations with companies that roll up and say, okay, I want to get involved. I want to, whether it's some kind of a project, PFP or not, where do I start? Like, how do I do this the right way? I'm curious for the panel. What do you say as a number one? What's number one on the docket?
Yeah, I mean, Trip, you want to go? You want to go first, or I'll defer?
Yeah, I'll throw one quick thing and then you can go. Thank you. Yeah, so my girlfriend, she actually works for a library here. She works in the district here for a library in North Las Vegas, and just because she works there, she received an email and she said, "Look, I got an NFT, right?" And it was the email NFT for Polygon, right? And that was pretty cool because I like my girlfriend because she doesn't use social media, you know? So when she gets an email from work about a Polygon NFT, that's pretty cool. You know, that's how you really affect someone that doesn't use social media, that doesn't really know the space. And, my girlfriend works at a library, and if you know anything about, government or local things, they tend to be slow. They tend to be maybe not the most polished or glamorous, but it's a job. And the fact she got a Polygon NFT in the email, I thought was so cool. And I think that's such an easy way to introduce people. And, the email has the whole setup for getting your wallet figured out and whatnot. But I thought that was awesome. But you can go ahead, Hunter.
Yeah, no, that Trip, that is really awesome. And for everybody here, I think the first thing that if a company comes to me, or a corporate exec or somebody in the marketing or whatever department they're in, right? If they came to me and they said, "What should we be doing? How do we enter this space?" It becomes a little bit of a quid pro quo at that point, which is for me to ask them, like, what are you trying to achieve here, right? In the case of a loyalty program, okay, like let's roll up our sleeves and figure out what that means. I happen to be in the Starbucks Odyssey beta, right? So I'm getting to understand a lot about what that looks like. And of course, they can't get rid of their existing rewards program. So what it becomes is sort of an overlap, right? It's not a bolt-on. It's sort of an overlapping strategy. And it's a complementary piece that 3, 5, 10 years down the line becomes more a bigger piece, right? Or you begin to segue more of your customers off the sort of legacy program and into the Odyssey program, right? If somebody comes to me, let's say I happen to know the guys at Gilson Snowboards because we connected with their interest in one of the NFT projects that I was in. They were big with Deadfellas, so they were doing a ton of stuff with NFTs already. So I started to connect with them quite a bit, and I said, well, what's your purpose here? Like, what do you see in, and when I say purpose, I mean, what are you trying to get? What's the value you're trying to extract by participating and entering the Web3 space? And the Gilson guys were just like, first of all, we've always been tech forward with our cutting edge snowboards. With the way we approach our business and our operations, we've always been tech forward, cutting edge, and we see this as the future, and we just want to participate. And we want to grow our community through this. So for them, it made sense for them first, Rob, like we were talking about earlier, like the pinned tweet, to sort of venture into different existing PFP communities and slowly build that way. But then for them, that became their Snow 3, their sort of Web3 brand. And now they're going about it that way. So, I would want to know what the point is of their entrance to the space, what they're hoping to achieve. And then I think we could create a bunch of different, plans to see what would suit them best. I hope that makes sense without being too long-winded.
It makes total sense. And while you were talking, I just quickly Googled Gilson snowboards, and it's their tagline is community-driven snowboards and skis since 2013. Which, I mean, how poetic is that?
I mean, it's an unbelievable story. It's Rob. Is it Rob? I'm trying to forget. I'm trying to remember the founder's first name. I'm totally blanking right now. Amazing dude. I met him at NFT NYC. Regardless of his first name, he did a TED Talk. So if you really want to know a little bit more after this, go on YouTube and Google Gilson TED Talk, and he talks about how he founded the company, and it's just truly unbelievable. And they grew from like 2 employees in a barn in Pennsylvania, out in the Susquehanna Valley, to whatever hundreds of employees they have now. And regardless of that, that's the kind of company that can really make an impact with Web3, because they're small enough, they're nimble enough, but they're forward thinking enough to do it early and really get a hold of it. So it's a cool story.
Super cool. I'm a big fan of TED Talk, so there's a really good chance I'm going to check that out. I love that. And one of the biggest things that drew me to the space was just how the rules are being written right now. Like, there's no rules. If you want to be a snowboard company that does X, Y, or Z, like, you can. And if you want to attach X, Y, and Z to the smart contract, if someone has your NFT, you can. So it's such a white canvas right now. And I think we've just, in the last couple of years, have seen just like a few specks of what's to come and what's possible, but I don't think we've scratched the surface. To circle back to, a company just getting in, a big theme is that loyalty aspect. Just the second coming of the rewards cards. Is that something, we don't need to play the prediction game all hour, but is that something that you kind of foresee that how most companies and brands enter? Here's my NFT, it's the rewards pass or the all access pass, whatever.
I mean, so let's face it, it's the low hanging fruit, right? It's the, everybody who walks into CVS or Walgreens or whatever, they try to hand you a fob, right? What if you actually held an NFT on your phone or a POAP or something, whatever that was, look, take a quick step back. The missing piece that everybody is sort of overlooking is we're finally going to get IoT. Like we've been promised IoT for like 10 years. And everybody was like, what is that? What we need RFID chips, whatever. Like Web3 is going to finally give us IoT. And with that, you're going to have so much more of a consumer, like branded consumer loyalty experience, just based on them knowing where you are or what wing of the MoMA you're in or what day you went to a certain concert or, like there's so much that can be done with it. So the long and short of it is, yes, initially loyalty programs and rewards programs are the low hanging fruit for corporate brands to get into NFTs. But then that's just the first layer of the onion.
In your thesis, what's the second layer? What do you think's the next coming of the next big thing? So, and from a marketing standpoint,
well, look, I mean, I've thought long and hard about this, right? And nobody really likes class systems, but at the end of the day, class systems exist, right? When we go on an airplane, certain people are in the back in economy, certain people are in economy comfort, and certain people are in the front of the plane, and so on and so forth. So what you'll have, if you really think about it, the way that airlines have thought about it, is you'll have sort of, and I hate the term class system, but you'll have levels, let's call it levels of rewards and utility that can be either earned or bought. And, to me, it's a no-brainer, right? So, but at the outer level, you'll have the fob. You'll have your Publix fob or your CVS or Walgreens fob, right? Whatever it is, your basic level that gives everybody 3% off the minute they own it, or 5% off, or, but from there, if you're willing to pay up for it, or if you're willing to work for it, if you earn the 10 Starbucks stamps over the course of a year, then you go to the blue level, then you go to the gold level, then you go, there's just so much that can be done.
That makes so much sense, and that's you see that in 9 out of 10 projects. The tiers, it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. Trip, I see your hand. Trip, am I rugging?
No, I think you're not wrong. There he is.
Am I the only one that can't hear Trip?
Yeah, no, I can't hear him either.
Okay. Trip, we're having a hard time.
May want to drop down and come back in.
Yeah. Web3 problem. All right, let's get him back. This is a fantastic conversation. I'm loving this. I really eat this up. All right. Trip going twice.
Yeah, I don't think he's there.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll hold off and wait for Trip.
Let me throw out another thought for everybody while we're sitting.
Please, here. You're on a heater.
Let me fill the dead air a little bit, because some stuff popped into and a little bit more about my background also. So I was working as CMO for an NFT project, a PFP project, right? And during the heyday when floors were pumping and volume was high and royalties were high, everything was fine, right, Rob? Yep. Now, fast forward to the moment where we're at today, where everybody realizes that just selling NFTs is not a sustainable business model, right? And this is something as CMO, I realized like 6 months ago. Not to pat myself on the back or anything, but I was like, damn, if we're going to be a real business, which is what these projects and brands are, if we're going to be a real business, we need revenue streams. We need recurring revenue streams. And what's that going to come from? That's going to come from using the IP, or creating branded partnerships, or talking to people that sell stuff that's going to help drive revenue to the project for sustainability, right? I mean, all of this in retrospect seems like a no-brainer, but at the time, the meta was just everyone's going to be Bored Ape Yacht Club. We're all going to be Yuga. We're all just going to derive enough from secondary sales or the Mutant Ape mint or this mint or that mint. And the reality for 99% of projects is that's just not going to happen, right? So, that Gilson experience, like going out and finding that relationship and that overlap. I found a project called Rick House DAO, which was another project, but they agreed to create a rum based around the IP of the NFT that I was working for. So there's going to be a rum bottle on the shelves. So all of a sudden we'll have branded liquor, points back to the project. Anyway, the point is, like, I find myself here because I was in that seat of somebody at an NFT project that was trying to understand how the project becomes sustainable. So I saw it from that side of things. And now I want to be in the middle so I can see it from both sides, and I can help brands partner with projects and projects partner with brands.
Amazing. I love that. Thank you for sharing that context. Trip, I saw an emoji. Are you with us?
I should be. Can y'all hear me?
I hear you now. I think we
You're
lost
back.
you. You fell
Sorry
down the
about that.
well that Alex did at the top of the show.
Yeah, either AirPods broke or bad connection. But yeah, like Punter said earlier, I do agree with classes or some sort of structure or board, because people need to have something to look forward to, or something that they can grow into, or upgrade in some form. And I know some people don't like structures, or and there's a whole rant I could do about people not liking stuff like that. But that happens in nature. It happens in different things, and it works. And I really believe that. And another thing I would like to say is that we have seen brands in the past try to come out with a collection, and it's flopped. And these are like very popular brands, household names, and either they had bad marketing, or they had some fishy in their Discord happen, or they just didn't know how to execute it right into Web3, because they're just a traditional Web2 brand, or local restaurant, or whatever it may be. And I really think and truly believe that your best bet, like Punter said, is to dabble here and there in a couple reputable communities, build your name in the ecosystem as a participant, but not a collection. And once you actually have something to build off of in Web3, then eventually, drop a collection. And I think most people would agree with that, as we've seen so many really popular brands absolutely flop. And it's been really interesting, because you would think it'd be the opposite. Like, I'll give an example on Lambo. Most people don't know this, but Lambo actually had a collection on a super weird chain, and most people haven't heard of it. The execution was so bad. I mean, it's embarrassing. And it's like, this is Lambo. This is the luxury brand. Like, this is a company you think would absolutely kill it, because their whole brand is around that kind of premium, exotic, luxury stuff. And it's crazy. You would think they would do some sort of research, but everyone knows that usually there's a mix up between whatever modern culture there is in whatever community, and then you get corporate try to come in, and it's usually a hard miss. And I'm sure over time we'll see some brands and other brands continue to kill it in the space, and release either a proper collection, or dabble with some awesome already established Web3 communities.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of both. And to be honest, that's the first I've heard of the Lambo being in the space. So obviously, it wasn't a huge announcement. So probably to your point of the poor execution, I want to stay on this tiers thing for a little bit. Access has been something that's always caught my eye as far as projects, utility. There's nothing, time is the most precious asset. And, if someone has value to give, or a collective group of people, a community has value to give, then access, I think, is above everything. VFriends was the first NFT that kind of was on my radar, and that's just chock full of access. Hangout Hawks with Gary V. Bowling, going, podcasting with him, whatever. Just real unique access, which is top of the tier. And then there's a lot with communities. Just I'm thinking Zeneca, I'm thinking Admit One, where you're just the kinds of people you want to be networking with. You have this exclusive access with them. This Tykes NFT with that guy Ryan Pineda I was talking about, he's a real estate mogul, and he has a whole community of people that invest. And you can, if you have a certain tier, you can go on a Zoom, and essentially it's like a Shark Tank. It's I think they call it the Tyke Tank, but essentially you get to pitch your idea, and you have a trustworthy group of investors right there, which are more likely to invest in you because you're in that little community. So, it's really something that I think anyone with any kind of influence, any kind of community, as we talk about people coming in, should really think about when starting or navigating a project. Hunter, I see your hand.
Yeah, just real quick, Rob, because I got a hard stop at the top of the hour. But I just want to say, really awesome conversation. My second time being on the space with you guys, and I hope you'll do more of these, because I think it's not only are the topics great, it's a great think tank for us to all come together and throw around ideas, because all this is developing right in front of us. This is stuff that doesn't exist, and it's just so great to be part of the creation process. I did want to throw out one more thing to everybody that came to my mind while Trip was talking, and great comments, by the way, Trip. I was in a space, I want to say a couple of weeks ago, with Josh Ong and a couple of other Bored Apes, and with Timex. I don't know if you, some of you all probably saw that there was some sort of collab going on there. So I wanted to hop into the space, and the people from Timex were on the call, right? On the spaces, right? And it's like one of the founders of Timex, or the guy who bought it many years ago, older gentleman, totally OG, just like, I don't know what's going on, but I know that I want to be a part of Web3. Legitimately, that's what he said. And he had his marketing manager, well-spoken lady, who was just like, also maybe didn't get everything, but was like, I know this is the future and we want to be here. And it was really amazing to hear those points of view. And I think the point that I want everybody to take away from this is, when we're approaching people to bring them along in Web3, we have to just go with kid gloves. We have to treat everybody, we have to meet them where they are. I sort of hate that, that's a cliche people throw around, but we do have to do that. We have to make them feel comfortable. Especially if they're embracing the technology and they want to be here, we just have to work at a pace and a tempo that will encourage them to move forward and to join us, because we believe in the tech so much and we believe in the space, and it will happen. But once you identify those people, just do what you can to nurture that relationship. That's what I would say.
Great points, and can't thank you enough for being here. Your expertise is definitely valued and appreciated, and you're always welcome.
Appreciate that, man. I'll hang out for a little bit longer, and I'll drop down when I can no longer stay. But thanks again for having me, and look forward to the next one for sure.
Amazing. Trip. Oh, I think you were just waving by. Yeah. So, to the point of meeting people where they are, with I think it's all the same game. Just make people not realize that they're entering Web3. I was at a talk last month at the Decentral Con, whatever it's called, Decentral Con, and someone was like, "You want people to join Web3? Like, make it just like Web2. Like, make it so seamless that they don't even know that they're there, or anything's happening." So, one of the other kind of places I hang out with and do some work is the Film 3 space. And I'm working with this guy, David Bianchi, and he's got this new series coming out with Gala. And we, together, me and him, we kind of ideated this little contest where we're having, and this has never been done before, it's an open casting call on Twitter. And so we posted some rules, and we posted a quick, like 6 lines of a script that people can record themselves, post it on Twitter, and audition for this role in this actual series that's being made. And at the end, if you go through the whole process, the people that get to vote are the holders of the NFT from Gala Film that have access. They're holders of the Razor. The show's called Razor NFT. So regardless of people's feeling, their emotions tied to NFT, crypto, whatever, like, if they are called, if they're into this world and they want to audition for a role, they're going to go through this process. And eventually there's going to come to a point where it's like, oh, who's voting on this? How do they get that? And it's just speaking their language and something that's bringing value to them. And Punch, I see you're still here. That's, like, in my opinion, like the perfect case study of Web 2.5. Just combining both worlds and something that's kind of seamless and fun and innovative.
Think how great that is, right? And you just came up with another use case that, doesn't cross my mind that often, which is that sort of token gated voting power, or voting rights, right? Or, being able to even participate or enter or a submission, or, it's like, there's just so many things that we can do. And one day we should do like a whiteboard session where we just generate a bunch of these different ideas that we could propose to, a company that wants to sit down with us and say, how do we get into the Web3?
I am totally game. That's like oxygen for me. I'm in.
That would be so dope. That'd be so dope. All right, Rob, I'm going to jump down to switch to listening. Thanks for giving me the stage. Thanks for all the insightful info and questions. And I'll try to listen as much as I can, and I'll look forward to next time. Wishing everybody the best for 2023.
Appreciate it, Punter. Really appreciate you.
You got it.
Just want to reset the stage. If anybody wants to come up, reset the space, I should say. Rob, Mr. Messer here with Gauss, a layer one blockchain, a curated layer one with a thorough vetting system, and we are built to onboard brands. And so those brands can onboard their communities and audiences free of scams, free of all the stuff that we see in the headlines. So thank you for supporting us. Thanks for supporting the space and just being a part of Web3. Alex, you still with us? Alex fell down again. Don't be shy, guys. I won't bite. I see my guy.
No, I'm still right here.
Oh,
sorry about
right
that.
here.
Just trying.
No,
I had switch for a bit, and
I don't want to. I don't want to be the teacher that calls on the student that's not raising his hand. I don't want to be that guy.
I'm here, sir. I'm here present.
But something happens if I go too long without communicating with you in a space or a fireside chat. Something weird happens inside of me. So I just wanted to do a little check-in with my guy Alex.
No, of course. I think everything is going great so far with the conversation that we're having. The one thing that I want to add on right now is just that I guess 2023 just started, and we know that things happen in cycles, as you've seen in the past. I think when Bitcoin first crashed from 20,000 to 10K, it took over maybe like 2 years, or just over 2 years, for it to get back to a new all-time high. I guess in your opinion, like with the whole fiasco that's happening, or not just you, Rob, but to everyone else, like how long do you think this would take for crypto or entities or building a community will get back to the levels that we've seen maybe like 2 years or 3 years ago?
As far as the crypto market, you mean?
I guess so. I guess like the sentiment back, because right now, like you gotta be honest that it's been pretty bad right now. So like when do you think, like would 23 be the year for it to bounce back up, or would it be maybe a little bit longer than that?
I think 2023 is going to be the year of quiet building, of what Punter said before, the picks and shovels era. People just to really get in deep and start whatever pathway they're on in this space, whether it be building a curated blockchain or trying to be the middleman and helping brands. I just think it's going to be, I don't know if there's going to be a lot of headlines as far as, look at what this NFT sold for. I think NFT, my feeling is that the word NFT is going to wither away in the night. I don't think I think the PFP era is going to be just an era, but that's just my personal opinion. Because everyone that said, like, why would I just have a JPEG like that? I mean, if you really unpack that, there's a lot to that as far as the mass market. So I think it's going to be a little bit for all of the things that we've just been talking about to develop for, how brands are thoughtfully playing this and inviting more people in to have a good experience, right? If
Right.
going on a roller coaster ride of buying something and having it be worth X, and then you're feeling high and mighty and you're telling everyone, your friends about it, and you're feeling a certain way, and then you go on this roller coaster ride. It's not an overall positive experience.
No,
And
of course
and
not.
at the end of the day, I just think this whole space is, and the technology behind it is so much more than just financial arbitrage.
No, exactly. And you made a really good point before where we don't need to create solutions to a problem where the problem doesn't really exist. I think, and you said the term, we're kind of in a 2.0 or 2.5 era, or
Mm-hmm.
that we need to move to 2.5 era. And I totally agree with that kind of statement. And personally, I think within this year, yeah, I agree. We're going to do a lot more silent building. It's going to be a lot more quiet, but I think that's where a lot of companies and businesses are going to succeed in the future is by building when the hype isn't necessarily there at the moment.
Totally. And with the larger economy, it's kind of, no one really knows. I mean, everyone's speculating we're going to have a real problem coming up. That's another huge factor. So I think it's just going to be a less hectic, a less busy time as far as the financial stuff and headlines. But I mean, look at ChatGPT. Things are happening,
Oh,
and
exactly.
things are
I,
things are happening.
yeah, I think right now there's a huge community behind the AI market. I think a lot of videos that are popping up on my feed right now are just all about AI, and maybe that's going to be the theme in 2023. And who knows, maybe a Web 2.5 or 2.3 will incorporate AI within that ecosystem.
Mm. It's been interesting, in the spirit of marketing, in the spirit of how different people are changing, and specifically brands. The new tools, the new skill sets that are emerging. Just in the last week, I swear I've seen like 5 or 6 people. It must be like a New Year thing, but 5 or 6 people in my Twitter feed just starting their newsletters, starting a Substack, or starting a newsletter through any one of these different mediums as a new way of branding. I mean, Twitter threads have become, a new version of a newsletter, and that's become a craft. Memes. So it's really interesting. All these new skill sets is under the marketing umbrella,
Oh
and
yeah.
to Punter's point before, or maybe Tripp said this, I can't remember. All of these companies are going to have a Web3 line in their marketing budget.
Eventually, I think that's pretty much what progress is. You're trying to find out what's the next um, the next it factor. I think that's the term. I'm not exactly sure how, that's how
Mm.
I would use it. Um, but yeah, it's slow building, and eventually I think we'll get there to more a more how would you say it, Web3 marketing? I don't know. I guess something like that along the same lines of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna just go stick with rest on my 2.5 laurels. I think it's both. You have one of the greatest skill sets I think you could possibly have right now, which is video editing, and short form content. The ability to make many pieces of short form content, which is how with the TikToks and the Instagrams, so many people are consuming their content, and that's how the majority of the people are going to learn about Web3 through short form video content.
Oh yeah.
So I'm bullish on you in 23.
Oh, we'll see. I mean, AI is taking over on a lot of things already. Um, Dolly has pretty much taken over graphic artists and like illustrations in some sort of way within like maybe a year, less than a year span. So who knows where that's going to take us so far. I mean, video editing, there's a lot of programs that already assist a lot of people to make those like types of video, and who knows? I think there is going to be some kind of AI that automatically does that for you right on the spot. I know there's like Google Photos who makes like pretty quick little bit snippets of video, but I think there might be in the near future where some type of program that's going to take it to the next level. So nobody's job is secure right now.
Nobody's job is safe.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the headline. Maybe that's the headline for 2023.
Maybe.
Learn a craft and get really contextually good at it. Lady Boss Nat, I saw you pop in. Hello. GMGN. Amazing. So I want to do kind of a last all call invitation up. This has been such a good conversation. I really could talk about the marketing stuff all the time. I love DeFi is cool. You know, UX, UI stuff, that's all cool. But community marketing, I'm just, for some reason, that's just my bread and butter where I could just listen to it all day. I could talk about it all day. So,
I mean, it's fun if you have like a community of people who is passionate about the same thing that you have. So that's why I think a lot of people vibe with community, and I think in the last community session that we had quite a lot of people within that Twitter space. I think today, no, I think it's still the holidays, so people are um, not as excited to come up here today. But that's just my thoughts.
that's all. I am fine. If it was just me and you, I could still talk about it. And a lot of people haven't left, so
That's good. That's good.
so that's a good sign.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not about getting customers; it's about keeping the ones you have. But yeah, man, I'm seeing a lot of old faces, faces from the Discord, new faces. And by the way, guys, if you haven't checked out the Gauss Discord, check out the bio. It's one of the most inviting places you could possibly be. And I know everyone says that, but really, like, I've just watched for months now. People, newbies, come in there and they're just welcome with open arms. No question is stupid. If it was, I would probably be in the top 3 on the leaderboard of those types of questions. But definitely jump in there. A lot of great characters in there. A lot of great memes.
I guess Rob, a question for you. What would be in 2023? What would be the next thing within the space, the Web3 space, Web 2.5 space?
I think the the next thing, well,
Like we had like trends with like say I think NFTs started happening within like 3 or 4 years ago. That started to become a big thing. I think a year or a half or so. I used to be really into the node space. If you ever follow something like that, there was a small trend with that, and then now I think it's a lot more different. But that's because like the recession is kind of happening, and everything, the whole thing with FTX kind of made everything a little bit more harder to develop for companies. But I guess have you seen anything that kind of stood out where okay, this could be the next trend within 2023?
I don't. I'm not sure I have any like trends to speculate on that you're referring to, but I'll throw one out there, and this is kind of how I would answer the question I asked to the panel earlier of, what would be the, if a business or a brand or an influencer came, approached us, approached Gauss, approached me and said, okay, I'm hearing a lot about this. I know these people are making money in Web3. I know it's the next big thing. Like, what do I do first? I think the answer is across the board, and it doesn't matter what your level of expertise or intellect is of the space of the technology. It's all the same. I think you need to either to strengthen the community you have or start building one
Mm,
yesterday. Like,
yeah.
that's it. Whether you have 64 followers on Instagram and that's your community, or you have, 4 regulars at your restaurant or bar, it doesn't matter where you are or what you're doing. You need to start cultivating your community, because whenever the technology and you meet, whenever you're going to start your project, like, the hardest part is to have your community, and the quicker you start creating it, the better it'll be for you when that time comes. And you don't need to understand what an NFT is or a blockchain to do that. You can start giving value and creating your little army now. So that's I mean, I don't know if that's a trend, but that's my take. That's just one person's opinion. I just, we've seen so many people try to create things without a community, and there's no one to sell it. No one wants that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with you.
Especially like, let's play out like if the economy gets really bad, like you need to start having people that really care about you and believe in you to deploy their dollars to get whatever value you're trying to give to them.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and build a community of collaborators too, like maybe not a customer per se, but people in your niche that you can kind of link arms with,
Yes, yes.
like we do. Like, look at all of the affiliates and partners we have with Gauss. Like, that's important. That's
No, and
important.
that's exactly what we're trying to build here at Gauss. A whole community of people for brands and just connecting um from point A to point B in a new way.
Totally, because once you have that community, like, you can do anything, right?
Exactly.
If Gary said, if Gary said fuck Gauss, like, I'm doing this thing instead, I bet most people would be like, you know what, that's an awesome idea, like, let's do this together. you know that's the punchline, because you have people that believe in each other, and they have the same ethics and morals, and the same goals, more or less, or similar. And I think that's what every brand needs to do.
Exactly.
Awesome. Good question. I think I totally dodged it, but
No, I think you're pretty on
Lady
point.
Boss Nat's giving me the hearts. Awesome. What do you have a I don't like to play the resolution game, but do you have like a fun little thing that you're trying to do more of this year, Alex? Doesn't have to be Gauss crypto related, but just as Alex the person.
Um, Resolutions. Not exactly. I guess just to be more part of the community, which happens to be what we're kind of doing right now, but like just be a little more active and just trying to I think I've been quiet a little bit for like the past like 2 months or so, so I just want to be a little bit more active back in the community. Um, I think Hugh had a question of when the next video is coming up, and I'm gonna say sometime this week. So stay put for that. And yeah, I think community building is really important for anything, and also for content creating too as well. So I want to get back that on top of that too as well.
Totally. Well, you're definitely, this is the best way to be in the community. Have you followed everyone in this room right now?
I think majority of the people that are here, I think so. Let me double check.
I need you to follow everyone. I need everyone to follow Alex. The
Well, everyone can just follow everyone as well, especially
every
you, Rob.
eh,
Especially you.
I have followed everyone. Amazing. But yeah, in all seriousness, it's always nice to have you could start your new chapter anytime, your new venture anytime, but it's nice to have a kind of a unifying moment, like a new year, to kind of refresh, reset, and just go for whatever it is. And I'm happy to be doing that here.
Oh, that's good.
And it's nice to have the support system of you and everyone else. And we have this project that's kind of unifying us, and I'm excited to see what the new year brings. I really am. A lot of big stuff. Are you pumped?
For the new year? Or like what do you mean, like for 2023?
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I
like, let's
think
go.
it's like it's a good refresh to a new start. I mean, I'm a person who always believed that you don't really have to start within the new year, but I guess the mentality is that like you can fix up mistakes that you've made in the past and start over again. It's pretty much a fresh start, and now we have, well, it's January 2nd. We have 364 days to, get the stuff that you want to get going done.
Totally. I think if I'm being really retrospective and analytical, like, I probably have 3 to 6 of these kind of New Year's moments in my life, like, all throughout the whole year. It's just kind of like, okay, like this is a new start with this, or this is a new start there.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's reset.
Yeah.
So I totally get what you mean. Just because the world tells us to restart doesn't mean we have to, but it's nice to have that shared experience. Cool. Well, I don't mean to beat a dead horse. I could talk about this all the time. Marketing, Web 2.5, Web 3, whatever. Yeah, it's. I wish we got to check the comments. We have a little quieter crowd, but that's all right. Thank you.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't thank you guys enough for being here. Please check out the Gauss Discord if you haven't already. Please follow Gauss on the social medias. I'm trying my best to create funny memes. Alex is making that amazing video content, and we're gonna get our TikTok up and running. We have some good series coming up, and it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a great year, and I hope everyone has had a happy and healthy New Year so far, and hope you have the best year ever.
absolutely.
You got
Yeah.
anything else?
Just happy New Year's to everyone, and hopefully everyone had a great holidays. I think tomorrow, well, here in Canada, it's the first working day, so um, let's get it started. It is a Tuesday, but you know,
Let's go.
let's go.
Short.
That's all I can say. Let's go.
Let's go. Back to work.
And back to work.
Back to work. All right, Mac, I can't wait to hear about your trip. Hope you're super well. All right, guys, you're the best. Really check out the Gauss Discord. I can't say it enough. Have a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever you are. Love y'all. We'll see you next
Take care,
time.
everyone. Thank you, Rob, for doing this every week, and
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you.